So this is the DJI Mini 2 drone with a 4K camera, and here's the controller with an iPhone 7 attached to it. I'm recording this on an iPhone 12 Max Pro. Now, today I'm going to talk about the 3 best things and the 3 worst things that I've found after 6 months of using this drone. The first best thing, and the best thing by far about this drone, is that if you live in Scotland, England, Wales or Northern Ireland, because of the new regulations, you can fly this drone almost anywhere. All you need to do is a wee online 20 question quiz, pay a £9 registration to get a flying number and an ID number an ID number and a flying number, and you're off. You can fly over recreational areas, industrial areas, residential areas. You can fly over people. The only things you have to stick to are the guidelines, which means that it has to be in your line of sight at all times, and you can't fly in a manner that would cause danger to other people. So there you go, the best thing by far about this drone. The second best thing about this drone is it's super easy to fly. I mean, it's the most responsive thing I've ever felt. I'm not a drone flyer, never have been. This was the first drone I ever bought. And for the minute I took it off and flew it about, it was under my full control all the time. Super easy to fly, responsive. If you let go of the sticks, it will stop and hover dead. It will move as slowly or as fast as you like. Fantastic to fly. The third best thing about this is the battery life. Now, DJI on their website say about 31 minutes. I haven't had 31 minutes yet, but I've had 27, 28 minutes flying out of one battery, and I brought it home with still about 10 to 15% left in the battery. So it's very possible you could get 31 minutes in good flying conditions. But if you buy the pack, you get 2 spare batteries with it, and that gives you an hour and a half's worth of flying. And an even better thing is, you get a charging pack with the extra pack, which I'll link down in the description. You get a charging pack. Now, if you've got a power supply unit with you, a power bank, when you bring your first flight in, you put the battery onto charge and you send your second one up. By the time you finish your second one, the first battery will be half charged. So you send it up again with your third flight in. By the time it comes back, your battery will be fully charged, and you can stick another one in, have a wee break for a cup of tea, and you'll have 2 batteries almost fully charged. So potentially, you could boot flying all day with 3 batteries, as long as you work in a wee coffee break here, a wee lunch break here to keep them fully charged. There's no reason you couldn't fly perpetually. So, third best thing about it. Now, let's come on to the 3 worst things about this drone. And when I say worst, for the price of it, for the size of it, you can't really expect to get everything. But the worst thing that I have found with this drone after 6 months of flying is the fact that it's got no collision detection, no sensors. It has one sensor at the bottom which will stop it landing on the deck when you don't want it to, but it's got nothing at the front, sides or rear. I've crashed this wee drone 3 times in the past 6 months, and it's because at this time of year when you're flying, if you're flying by trees or bushes, and they don't have leaves, sometimes you can't see the wee branches. I got a bit too close on a couple of occasions and it collided with the branches. No damage at all. Well, that's not true. One time there was a damage to one of the propellers, but in the pack that you get a couple of spare propellers anyway. I think you get 4 or 6 spare propellers with it, so that was no bother at all. So, anti-collision detection, if they had sensors in there, that would be brilliant. The second worst thing about this is that it's so small that it disappears out of your line of sight very quickly. Now, one of the new regulations that allow you to fly this almost anywhere is that you must have it in line of sight at all times. Now, I'm no spring chicken. My eyesight's no the worst, but it's no the best either. After about 500 metres, this thing's out of my sight completely. Now, I am not supposed to fly beyond that. And if I was sticking to the regulations, which of course I always do, I wouldn't fly it beyond 500 metres. Now, I bought a couple of these wee thingies here. You can maybe see it flashing, maybe no. Right, one for the top and one for the bottom. These flash red and blue. And I got them for Amazon for £9. I'll put a link in the description of these wee flashing LEDs. But let me just tell you now, they're no good. They might work at night, you might be able to see it flashing red and blue in the sky at night, but during the day they make no difference at all. You cannot see this drone when it goes out of line of sight because of the LEDs. They don't help it at all. So the third and final worst thing, well, not the final, but the third worst thing, there's the wind picking up. The third worst thing about this wee drone is it has no auto track feature on it. Now, it would have been nice if it had a wee auto track that you could have it up, maybe hovering about 30 feet in front of you, and as you walk along, it flies backwards tracking you, and you can do a wee bit of narration that way. Unfortunately, it has no auto tracking whatsoever. Now, it has some auto features called quick shots that allow it to do some fancy tricks and fly automatically. And a couple of the guys on YouTube have discovered wee ways of manipulating those quick shots to allow you to auto track to a certain extent. But for me, it's no auto tracking, it's no the auto track that I would want. So that's the third worst thing at all. You could step up to something like the Mavic Air 2 and you get your auto track, you'd get your anti-collision, but you'd be above the 250 gram weight, which wouldn't allow you to fly to the extent that you can with this one here. So that's the DJI Mini 2 drone, and at the three best things and the three worst things that I've found with it over the past 6 months. Now, if you found anything useful about that video, and there are going to be other videos about some of the features on it, how far can it fly, how stable is it in the wind, how good is it at returning it home itself, different things like that. I'll be making more videos like that, so if you fancy watching some of them, why don't you think about subscribing down below and maybe a wee comment if you found something that you like about it that I haven't found yet, or something that you think is a bad thing about it that I haven't found yet. Stick a wee comment in so we can go through maybe a wee walk of discovery ourselves. There's a couple of guys on YouTube that I've discovered have got some great in-depth knowledge about the new UK regulations and where and when how you can fly. Much more extensive knowledge than I have, or I'll probably ever have. So I'm going to link to their YouTubes in the description below. I get some fantastic advice from those videos that I watch for those guys. So have a look at those too. And hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. Cheerio the now.